everyone.
Hold up.
I'm Duncan Reed of the pre-show. Today we're here with Craig Powe of Adtelligent. Adtelligent is a digital marketing company that specializes in web design, social media management, content creation, and pay-per-click ads. Hey Craig, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good today, Duncan. Thanks for coming by the office. It really means a lot to have you here, and I'm glad you came by to come check us out.
I'm glad to be here. All right, so Craig, what we wanted to talk about today is any young advice. As a young entrepreneur yourself, what young advice do you have for other young entrepreneurs?
Okay, well, I have 8 rules that I, kind of live by in terms of entrepreneurship, which I've developed through my idols, Steve Jobs and Jack Welch, as well as Warren Buffett. So I'll just talk about those 8 rules today. So the first one is loving your mistakes. Now, when I say love your mistakes, I mean that you have to kind of admit to yourself and to everybody around you that it's okay to mess up. It's fine to fall asleep, to miss the deadline, to do all of that stuff, as long as you admit that you did it and you say, I've learned from it, I'm never going to do it again. If you don't talk about your mistakes, you can have what you call is a perfectionist thing about you, where everyone thinks that you're perfect, but you're not. And you'll kind of have this sense of fraud, where you won't be able to call people out on when they're making a mistake because you don't call yourself out, or people will try to catch you out because you make it seem like you're perfect.
That's a toxic mentality.
Yes, so you have to always talk about your mistakes so you can learn from them. Because if you talk about them and admit that you have flaws, like everybody else in the world, because I'm not perfect and I don't think anyone else is, you will be able to continually learn and grow every single day and become a better person, a manager, a better entrepreneur, and grow your business because you admit, guess what, I'm not perfect and I still have a lot to learn. And it allows you to humble yourself and actually get mentors, and the people will be willing to teach you because you can learn from them. The second one is hire the right team. The team is the most important thing in any sort of business. You can only do so much as one man. So your success is always going to be limited to how good of a team you have around you. So you really need to be looking out for what I call A players, people who are highly capable and highly motivated. Those are the people that if you give them a goal, they'll figure out how to get there, and they'll be able to do it without much direction from you. So you really need to be able to have team members like that who can support your growth.
They are a valuable lesson to learn. It's not just about yourself. You have to build a valuable team around you. Mm-hmm. So what's the third lesson?
You need to leverage every opportunity you have.
Leverage every opportunity.
So in entrepreneurship, your ability to pay yourself and to pay your team is only limited by your willpower to achieve on the opportunities that you already have. So there's this concept that Gary Vee talks about, which is one is better than nothing. Meaning if only one person sees it, it's still worth it. So you need to really just do everything. You can't just get on the New York Times and be like, I made it. Or you can't be a movie star. You can't just become that. You have to do every acting gig first. You have to kind of hustle and be the one in the back and try. You're not going to be able to land a big client first without doing the small ones. So,
because they say the best boss is someone who knows every aspect of the business, right?
Yeah, well, it's more than just knowing every aspect of the business. It's about you need to take every single opportunity like it's your last one. Like you need to say, okay, someone wants me to do something. It's only going to give me $5,000. Who cares if it's just $5,000? You need to just go ahead and do it until you can actually start making trade-offs or your company grows. So you need to take advantage of every opportunity you have. Every opportunity there is to learn, take advantage of it. Every opportunity there is to meet a client. Even if they reject you, take advantage of it. Opportunity to get the interview done. It doesn't matter how small or big the person is. Just do it because it might turn out to something bigger.
Right. So what's the fourth one?
The fourth one is never get comfortable.
Never get comfortable?
Yeah.
Why is that important?
So it's really, really important that every single day you wake up and that you never really feel satisfied. That you always have a hunger to want more, to do more, because that's what's going to keep you grinding. That's what's going to make you feel like, how do I get the next 100,000? How do I get the next 200? How do I make 1 million? How do I move from 1 million to 10 million?
So in other words, never get complacent.
Yeah, exactly. Because even if you're feeling successful, there's always someone who's more successful out there than you. There's always someone who has more hunger and drive. So you need to always have that inside your stomach, that need for more, the need to do better, to improve, to grow your business more, or else you'll get complacent and someone else will come into the market. And because there's a competition and it's really a winner's take all sometimes, they will come and eat your supper while you're not looking. So you really need to always be on the lookout for the next best thing, trying to improve your business, your methodologies, whatever you're doing. Always need to be improving yourself and your team and your capabilities.
Never get complacent. Actually, Craig, I think that's one of the most important ones. You know why? Because even if you're already successful, right? There's always more that you can do. There's always more profits that can be made. There's always incremental growth. I mean, just look at as a relatable example, like Drake. Drake is the top of the rap game.
Very true. He's one of my favorite artists.
But he's always looking for the next best thing.
Very true.
He never takes his success for granted. So, yeah, never get complacent.
Always stay hungry. The next thing is growing your team. So, in a business or as a manager, it's actually not about you. You are literally limited by your team's potential. So, you need to focus not on you, but actually on your team. What can you do for your team? And my philosophy is that you kind of need to treat them almost like your kids. Like you want them to succeed, and you want them to eventually, be able to live on their own. So you can say, hey, just take this client and just run with it, and that you don't need to baby feed them anymore. But the thing is, as kids, you're also okay with them leaving the house. You're okay with them going out to college and moving out. So you want them to grow to the point where actually, if this job is no longer suited for them, that's okay too. So you don't want it to stay stuck and stagnant. You want them to grow as much as possible in this landscape.
So you'll be comfortable with your own employees going on to do different things?
Of course. I mean, if they grew here and they had a great time and they learned a lot, and now they're capable of starting their own business, why not? I'm not going to bite them in the foot. I'm so happy with the work that they did for me and the work that we did together and what they allowed me to accomplish and our team to accomplish. So, my biggest thing is, how do we help them to get better, the team? So you have to focus on them, grow them, give them material that they can read, tell them that they can do better. Never allow them to settle for less, because you, as a manager, will be able to see potential that they might not be able to see in themselves. And your only job as a manager, this is true, is to make sure that your employees or your team do more than they thought they could.
All right, that's great. I hear you, Craig.
Mm-hmm.
But just to play devil's advocate here,
mm-hmm.
What if one of your employees took the lessons that they learned from your company
mm-hmm.
and went on to form a rival company? How would you feel about that?
Well, I mean, of course, I'd be a little bit hurt and upset. And I really doubt that any employee would do that here because, I mean, one, they'd be going up against me and I'm a shark. So that wouldn't really work out well for them, especially not in the same industry. But, for them going into non-competing industries, I definitely tell them go ahead.
What's the next one?
You have to over-deliver.
Over-deliver?
Yeah. So what I mean by that is that anytime you get an opportunity, no matter what the people are paying you, no matter what the circumstance is, you need to say, how can I do it better than they thought I would? You need to give it not just 100%, but give it 120. Make the client feel like, oh my God, I'm so happy to have taken the chance on this young entrepreneur, this young guy, because you're coming in with a bit of lower standing because you're not as old as them, you're not as qualified, you're not as this. There's a bunch of different things going on in their mind where they're going to drive down your price or drive down their worth. So you need to kind of go the extra mile. So they say, shit, man, it's like, this guy is really good. This team is really good. So if you're a young entrepreneur, you kind of need to just push yourself harder than everyone else. Don't take clients for granted because that's what's going to allow your business to grow. Don't take their money for granted.
Even if it's the smallest client, right?
If it's the smallest client, you have to just give them outstanding value for their money because the small client most likely can't even afford to be contributing that much to in a marketing budget or whatever service you're selling. So you need to say, how can I make this product so fantastic that they want to continue to buy it?
And it's definitely important to over-deliver because, as we all know, a lot of business is based on word of mouth. So if you do such a great job for this one client, then they'll definitely recommend you.
Of course, they'll recommend
2, 3, 4 more clients.
And Jamaica or any country, especially in Jamaica, is a country where word of mouth goes a long way. I mean, if you have a client here, that says, hey, this person did a really good job or whatever, they'll probably recommend you to someone else and so on and so forth. And it's kind of an exponential feeling. So you'll start growing much more rapidly because, word of mouth will take you very, 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 very far, very quickly.
It's important to over-deliver. We're at number 7 now. What's the next thing?
You have to manage with candor. Now,
what does that mean?
I mean, with candor, you have to kind of come into the workplace with a level of truth and sincerity. So it's working with honesty, letting people know where they stand, telling them when they mess up, but also telling them when they succeed. So if someone succeeds, take that as a opportunity to compliment them. Celebrate whenever someone wins and compliment them, differentiate them, make them feel like a champion. But if they're messing up, it's okay to tell someone this is crap. It's okay. It's fine because, a lot of people are kind of sensitive about, oh, they're adults, you have to be nice and blah, blah, and all sort of different stuff. But the truth is, back in the day, when people were in prep school, high school, they were being differentiated. The good guy got an A, and the person who failed got an F. So it's okay to tell the person who's getting an F, you're getting an F. Don't just wake up one day and say, oh, you're fired because you've been doing so bad. You have to let them know and show him or her the steps that she needs to do to make the company happy or for her to succeed. So look at them and say, this is not good quality work. You need to do XXX, and tell them very, very quickly and correct them very fast so they can grow. Be like a parent. Tell them that you have no problem with them, but you know that this work is not the quality that they can produce, and kind of like kick them in the ass so they can be like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do it. So you need to treat them that way. Manage them with candor.
All right, I hear you. I hear you. But given that philosophy, what do you think is more important? Criticizing people for substandard work or showing them the example for what excellent work is? Which one is more important?
Well, you have to do both, right? Because you can be doing excellent work all the time, but that's just only you. So you need to also make sure you hold yourself to the same standard that you hold everyone else so they can at least say this guy is fair. You can't be doing crap and then coming in and telling the people that's crap, because they're going to be like, but he does crap. So you have to say to them, I'm not perfect. Guys, I mess up all the time. And so they're going to be like, well, at least it's true. Craig holds himself to the same thing. But then show them that for the things that you know how to do, that you're going to give it your best. And that's all you want from them too. And so if they have to do it 5 times, 10 times, 20 times over, I'll make people do graphics 20 times over, 30 times over. It doesn't really matter. It's only until, I think this is their best work. And I've never had someone come to me after they've produced something that they had to do 30 times and say, this is bad. They're usually so proud. They're like, wow, I didn't know I could do this. And I said, I always knew you could.
I find that candor is one of the most important ones too, because nowadays you see entrepreneurs like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs. They're famous for being hard on their employees.
Of course.
But that brings out their best work.
Yes, it does.
And we can see it in the result.
True. And you have to be result-oriented, not processed. So if you got to be a little bit mean, tell the truth. You know what? I'm happy when someone tells me I was messing up, because it might save me the trouble of messing up in front of a client. So, people have looked at me and criticized my work like crazy, like my uncles and so on and so forth. And I'm happy that they did that, because it saved me the headache of losing that contract. So I just kind of take that same philosophy that people put on me all the time and put it onto the employees. And if you hire A players, they actually like that workspace. They like feeling pressure, and they rise to the challenge. They like beating your expectations. And when they beat your expectation, you just set a new one that's even higher. And that's how the company continually grows, because you're like, oh, great, you just jumped over a wall? Okay, well, here's a wall 10 times bigger. And they're going to say, I'm going to try to jump over that too. So they're continually growing with you, and the company's going to continually grow because they're growing with it. Yeah.
All right, that's an important lesson. All right, so 7 great lessons we've learned so far. I know that if you're still watching, you've learned a lot. Mm-hmm. What's the final one?
The final one, I think, is definitely the most important. It's never give up. In business, in life, in relationships, in general, you're going to have many, 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 many challenges. And times are going to get hard. And you're going to feel like defeated and like you want to quit and that you want to give up. I mean, I've certainly felt it. But the truth is, if you give up, that's where it ends. There's no happy story. It's just over. But if you wake up the next day and say, guess what? So what? Something bad happened to me, and I'm going to try again. Then there's always that possibility for a good ending, because life isn't linear. As long as you can get up from that mistake and have that resilience to wake up another day and try again, you're still on the right track. Because the track isn't about that journey thing, like it's not like life is linear and you have to always be perfect. It's about experiencing the mistakes and learning from them and continually getting better and better and better. So as long as you don't give up, if a client rejects you, a potential customer rejects you, something bad happens, you get fired, you lose your job, whatever the hell happens to you, as long as you try again the next day and try to learn something new every day, think about new ideas, you'll be on the right path. I think the concept I have is changing your rate of change. Changing how fast you learn and how fast you grow is the only way to put yourself ahead of everybody else. Because if someone is at 30 years old right now and some other person is at 20, they have more time to learn. That's true. But if they're changing, or the acceleration of learning is at, let's say, a 3% per year, another guy is at 10% per year. Even though that person has more time, that other person can learn faster. You see what I'm saying? Because like his rate of change is exponential, so he's gonna be learning 10% on 10% every year. That's like compound interest. So the extra learning is gonna make you so much better than your peers. So if me and you graduate from college right now, and every year I learn 3% more of what I knew before than you, and you only learn 1%, you know, by the end of 20 years, that's gonna be a huge difference. I'll be like a CEO while you'll be like an executive, versus if you try to have that rate of change, that you can actually beat pretty much everybody else that's out there. So really change your rate of change.
I can definitely see how you're a math brain as well.
Yeah, and I really love numbers, and that's probably the one advantage that I have, that I'm not afraid to sit down and look at the numbers and try to take out the emotion out of the decision and, you know, use logic. So I have to thank Trinity University for that, and Hillel, of course. That's pretty much it.
All right. Thanks for coming, Craig.
Yeah, no problem.
And thanks for giving us such helpful advice. I know if you watch this to the end, then you've learned a lot. So thanks for all of that.
Yeah, perfect.